Welcome to the fifth lecture on gas turbines. This is from the module 5 of the fluid machinery course. In the previous session, we have discussed the possible improvements of basic gas turbine cycles. The three methods we know are intercooling, reheating and regeneration, and we have discussed the intercooling in detail. In this session, we will discuss reheating and regeneration in greater detail. The expressions for efficiency and work output in such cases. We will also discuss the condition for maximum turbine work. This is similar to the condition for minimum compressor work. Both are of greater importance in the operation of gas turbine engines and gas turbine power plants. We will also discuss the numerical problem on improved gas turbine cycle, in particular the gas turbine cycles with regeneration. What do you mean by improvement in gas turbine cycle by reheating? In this case, we will introduce a reheater. Here in the block diagram it is labeled as CC2. CC1 is the main combustion chamber. So in addition to the main combustion chamber, here we have a reheater. Just like in the case of multi-stage compression and intercooling in between, here we have a reheater in between two stages of turbine expansion. In other words, we have two turbines here and a reheater in between, a high pressure turbine and a low pressure turbine. Here the main components are the compressor, the main combustion chamber, high pressure turbine, then a reheater, and finally a low pressure turbine. In the TS diagram, the processes are represented like this. 1 to 2 dash is representing the actual compression in the compressor. 2 dash to 3 is the heat addition process in the main combustion chamber, and 3 to 4 dash, that is the actual expansion in the high pressure turbine, and 4 dash to 5 is the additional process in this system, that is constant pressure reheating, and 5 to 6 dash is the actual expansion in the low pressure turbine. Here we have three pressure levels because we are using two-stage expansion by making use of a high pressure turbine and a low pressure turbine. If you ignore the mechanical losses, then the power developed by the high pressure turbine can be utilized to drive the compressor, and the power developed by the low pressure turbine we will get as useful net work output. In general, the net work output from such a cycle can be expressed as the sum of the two turbine works minus the work done on the compressor. By doing this kind of improvement in gas turbine cycle by reheating, the net work output of the cycle increases, but not the thermal efficiency, because the heat to be supplied in the reheater, that will increase the heat requirement of the cycle. The important points you have to remember is that the output of a gas turbine can be improved by expanding the gases in two stages with a reheater between the two stages. The high pressure turbine drives the compressor and the low pressure turbine provides the useful power output. The various processes, actual ones, in such an improved gas turbine cycle are 1 to 2 dash the actual compression, and 2 dash to 3 is the combustion chamber heat addition, and 3 to 4 dash is the high pressure turbine expansion, and 4 dash to 5 is the additional process called reheating, which is a constant pressure heat addition, and 5 to 6 dash is the low pressure turbine expansion. I have already told you that if you ignore the mechanical losses in the system, then the power developed by the high pressure turbine can be entirely utilized to drive the compressor. If you ignore the mechanical losses, the work output of the high pressure turbine must be exactly equal to the work input to the compressor. Here the compression process is 1 to 2 dash. So the specific work done on the compressor is Cp of air multiplied by T2 dash minus T1, and the work developed in the first stage expansion in the high pressure turbine, the process is 3-4 dash. Therefore, the work done per unit mass of gas will be equal to Cp of gas multiplied by T3 minus T4 dash. If Cp of air and Cp of gas are given to be same, you can commonly represent them by Cp itself. Cpa is the specific heat of air, and Cpg here represents the specific heat at constant pressure for the gases. Net work output of the low pressure turbine, here the corresponding process is 5 to 6 dash, that is Cp of gas multiplied by T5 minus T6 dash. What essentially we are doing is, we take the difference between the specific enthalpies at the state points. Net work output with the reheating is equal to Cp of gas into T5 minus T6 dash. See, this equation you can make use of when the work developed by the first stage high pressure turbine, that is exactly equal to the work required to drive the compressor. In a common case, what you can do is, the net work output will be the sum of the two turbine works minus the work done on the compressor. The reheating process actually increases the net work output. But remember, the heat to be supplied, that will also increase, because in the reheater we are supplying heat, that is Cp of gas into T5 minus T4 dash. See, that is the heat supplied, additional heat supplied. Since the heat supplied is also increased, the net effect can be the reduction in thermal efficiency, because we know that the thermal efficiency of the gas turbine cycle is equal to the net work output divided by the heat supplied. Here the total heat supplied will be equal to the heat supplied in the combustion chamber plus the heat supplied in the reheater. In the main combustion chamber, the heat addition process is 2-3, which takes place at constant pressure. So Cp of gas multiplied by T3 minus T2 dash, that is the heat supplied in the main combustion chamber. And the process in the reheater is represented by 4-5. Therefore, the heat added in the reheating process is Cp gas multiplied by T5 minus T4 dash. So now we obtain the expressions for the net work output and heat supplied. If you divide the net work output by the heat supplied, we will get the thermal efficiency of the cycle. Here we have three pressure levels, the lower pressure level and the higher pressure level and an intermediate pressure level. This curve is representing a constant pressure line in the TS diagram. Therefore, the pressure at 1, pressure at 6 and pressure at 6 dash are the same. Similarly, this is the higher pressure line, and this line represents a constant pressure line where the pressure is equal to P2, which is same as P2 dash and P3. And the intermediate pressure level after the first stage expansion in the high pressure turbine, we have the pressure level at P4, which is equal to P4 dash, and that is equal to P5. That is the intermediate pressure level. Now we will consider the possible improvement of gas turbine cycle by regeneration. Actually, this is the case where we can expect improvement in thermal efficiency. So the thermal efficiency of the cycle increases if we employ regeneration in a gas turbine cycle. What we do basically is, we will introduce a heat exchanger called a regenerator, which make use of the waste heat from the exhaust gases coming out of the turbine. Here you can see in the block diagram, here we have the compressor which takes in air and it is compressed, and that air is passed on to the combustion chamber via this heat exchanger. In a heat exchanger, you have two fluids, one absorbs heat whereas the other one rejects heat. The heat from the exhaust gases coming out of the turbine, that is when recirculated through this heat exchanger, that is called a regenerator, that heat is given to the compressed air coming out of the compressor. So the heat from the exhaust gases coming out after the expansion in the turbine, that is utilized to heat the air coming out of the compressor before sending to combustion chamber. What is the advantage of such a process? Here, if you employ this heating by the waste heat from the exhaust gases, you are making use of the waste heat to increase the temperature of the compressed air coming out of the compressor before sending to the combustion chamber, so that the heat to be supplied in the combustion chamber to bring the temperature of the products of combustion to the maximum desired temperature, say T4, that heat supply can be reduced. If the heat to be supplied is reduced, definitely that will reduce mass of fuel required. Therefore, there will be saving in mass of fuel when we employ such a heat exchanger. In fact, we are recovering heat from exhaust gases from the turbine after expansion, which otherwise would have been wasted. So in fact, by employing this process, we are regenerating the energy. This is a waste heat recovery. Since the heat supplied is reduced in the combustion chamber, this is going to give us higher thermal efficiency. But please note that the compressor work and the turbine work will remain unaffected. Therefore, there is no improvement in the net specific work output, but definitely there is reduction in the heat to be supplied. We know that the thermal efficiency is net work output divided by heat supplied. Since there is a reduction in the denominator, therefore definitely the thermal efficiency of the cycle will increase. Consider the TS diagram. See, actual process in a gas turbine cycle, if you ignore the pressure drop in the combustion chamber, the processes will be like this: 1 to 2 dash the actual compression, 2 dash to 4 now is representing the constant pressure heat addition in the combustion chamber, and 4 to 5 dash is the expansion in the turbine, the actual expansion. If you make use of a regenerator to heat the compressed air coming out of the compressor to a higher temperature, then that process is represented by 2 dash to 3. So that means this is the additional heat supply which we get from the regenerator. Naturally, the heat to be supplied in the combustion chamber to bring the compressed air to the peak temperature requirement T4, which is Tmax here, that heat requirement is reduced. Therefore, there will be saving in mass of fuel. In the basic cycle, the exhaust gases after expansion in the turbine, they are delivered out. In this case, those exhaust gases from the turbine, they are recirculated back to this heat exchanger, that is essentially called a regenerator, which is heating up the air coming out of the compressor before sending to the combustion chamber. And after utilizing the heat, after extracting the heat from the exhaust gases, they are ejected to the atmosphere. See, the temperature of exhaust gases coming out of the turbine after expansion, the actual temperature is T5 dash. After going through this heat exchanger and rejecting heat to the compressed air, its temperature becomes T6. See, that is indicated here. Temperature of the exhaust gas coming out of the heat exchanger after extracting the waste heat to heat up the compressed air, see, that temperature is now T6. So as you can see on the constant pressure line, the lower pressure line, you have a point 6 that is representing the temperature of the exhaust gases when it is finally discharged to the atmosphere. The various processes in the cycle by the inclusion of the regenerator are 1 to 2 dash the actual compression, 2 dash to 3 is the heating by the heat exchanger or regenerator, 2 dash to 3 is representing the heat added to the compressed air coming out of the compressor in the regenerator, and 3 to 4 is the heat added in the combustion chamber, and 4 to 5 dash is representing the turbine expansion. Important points you have to keep in mind is the exhaust gases from a gas turbine carry a large quantity of heat. So you can clarify that point like this. Here 5 dash is the condition of exhaust gases when it comes out of the turbine after expansion if they are delivered out. So T5 dash is that temperature. See, as you can see, T5 dash is very much higher than T1, which is the ambient temperature. So that means it possesses a large quantity of heat. Therefore, the exhaust gases from the gas turbine carry a large quantity of heat, so which can be used to heat air coming from the compressor. So definitely that will reduce the mass of fuel supplied in the combustion chamber. So the processes now 1 to 2 dash is the actual compression, and 2 dash to 3 is the heat addition in the regenerator, and 3 to 4 is representing the combustion chamber heat addition, and 4 to 5 dash is the actual turbine expansion. Please note the temperature of air that is going into the heat exchanger, that is T2 dash. While coming out of the heat exchanger, before entering into the combustion chamber, its temperature is T3. Ideally, the temperature to which this compressed air could be heated is T5 dash. But in actual practice, that does not happen. So we will introduce a term called effectiveness of heat exchanger. The maximum temperature to which the compressed air could be heated in the regenerator is ideally same as that of the exhaust gases, that is T5 dash. But actually we could manage it up to a temperature below that, below T5 dash, let us say T3. So we introduce a term effectiveness of heat exchanger or regenerator. Here effectiveness of a heat exchanger is defined as the ratio of actual heat transfer to the maximum possible heat transfer. Here the heat exchanger is our regenerator. What is the actual heat transfer that takes place in the regenerator? That is Cp of air multiplied by T3 minus T2 dash. T2 dash is the temperature of air entering the regenerator from the compressor, and T3 is the temperature of compressed air coming out of the regenerator. Remember, 2 dash to 3 is the heating process in the regenerator undergone by the compressed air. So the actual heat transfer is Cp of air multiplied by T3 minus T2 dash. But ideally, the maximum possible heat transfer could be Cp into T5 dash minus T2 dash, and T5 dash is the temperature with which the exhaust gas is entering the regenerator. So if the complete extraction of heat is possible in the regenerator, then the exhaust gas temperature at inlet T5 dash, that will be made equal to the temperature of compressed air coming out of the regenerator T3. For solving numerical problems, we have to remember this equation to represent the effectiveness of the regenerator. The net specific work output is equal to turbine work minus compressor work. And here we are expressing the work done by the turbine and work done on the compressor per unit mass of air. Remember, here in these expressions, we are assuming that Cp of air is same as Cp of gas. If in a numerical problem, the Cp of air and Cp of gas are given to be different, then for computing turbine work, you have to use Cp of gas, and for calculating compressor work, we have to use Cp of air. So here the turbine expansion is 4 to 5 dash. Therefore, the turbine work is Cp into T5 dash minus T4. Here the actual compression is represented by 1 to 2 dash. Therefore, the work done on the compressor per unit mass of air is equal to Cp of air into T2 dash minus T1. Now, what is the heat supplied per unit mass of gas? Heat supplied in the combustion chamber is represented by the process 3-4. Therefore, the heat supplied per unit mass of gas is equal to Cp into T4 minus T3. So, the thermal efficiency we know, net work output divided by heat supplied. While solving a numerical problem from the gas turbine cycle with a regenerator, we should remember the expression for effectiveness and the expression for net specific work output and the heat supplied in the combustion chamber, and ultimately we are required to calculate the thermal efficiency of such a cycle. Now we will discuss the numerical problem. The question is this: the pressure ratio of a regenerative air standard gas turbine cycle is 5. Air enters the compressor at 1 bar and 300 Kelvin and leaves at 490 Kelvin. The maximum temperature in the cycle is 1000 Kelvin. Calculate the cycle efficiency given that the efficiency of regenerator and adiabatic efficiency of the turbine are each 80%. Draw TS diagram, and you are also asked to calculate what would be the cycle efficiency in the absence of regeneration. See here the ambient conditions given. At inlet to the compressor, the air is at 1 bar and 300 Kelvin. That is P1 is equal to 1 bar and T1 is equal to 300 Kelvin. Ambient pressure and temperature at inlet to the compressor. The pressure ratio given is 5. So in such a regenerative cycle, what do you mean by pressure ratio? Here, consider this TS diagram. Here the various processes have been represented by 1, 2 dash, 3, 4, 5 dash. The actual compression is 1 to 2 dash, 2 dash to 3 as we explained previously, that is the heat addition in the regenerator, which is typically a heat exchanger, and 3 to 4 that is the heat addition in the combustion chamber at constant pressure, and 4 to 5 dash is the actual expansion in the turbine. Here we have two pressure levels. The low pressure level, we have the state points 1, 6, 5 and 5 dash. Therefore, P1 is equal to P6 is equal to P5 is equal to P5 dash, that is the lowest pressure in the cycle, that is 1 bar. Remember, this is a constant pressure line in the TS diagram, and the higher pressure level is this one, and this is representing the constant pressure line, and the various state points on the higher pressure line is 2, 2 dash, 3 and 4. Therefore, P2 is equal to P2 dash is equal to P3 is equal to P4. What is the higher pressure? The pressure ratio P2 by P1 when you talk about the compression side, and when you talk about the expansion 4 to 5 isentropic and 4 to 5 dash actual, we know that P5 is equal to P5 dash. So while stating the pressure ratio, you can use P2 by P1 on the compressor side and P4 by P5 in the expansion side, that is the turbine side. So that ratio is 5. Therefore, the higher pressure P2 is equal to P2 dash is equal to P3, which is equal to P4. Each of these pressure values will be 5 bar. Now, what is the temperature of air after compression? That is also given, 490 Kelvin. See, in this problem, while giving you the efficiency of the components, the efficiency of compressor is not specified, because here the temperature of air after actual compression that is available. So that's why the efficiency of the compressor is not dealt with. The maximum temperature in the cycle is 1000 Kelvin. Obviously from this diagram the maximum temperature is at state point 4. So T4 is the temperature of the products of combustion while coming out of the combustion chamber and entering into the turbine. Here we know the three temperatures at different state points. T1 is equal to 300 Kelvin, T2 dash after the actual compression it is 490 Kelvin, and the maximum temperature is at T4 that is equal to 1000 Kelvin. And now we have to find out the temperature at other state points in order to assess the performance of this regenerative type of gas turbine cycle. This is the TS diagram of the regenerative gas turbine cycle. The processes 1 to 2 dash actual compression, 2 dash to 3 is heating in the regenerator, 3 to 4 is the constant pressure heat addition in the combustion chamber, 4 to 5 dash is the actual expansion in the turbine. Now consider the isentropic efficiency of expansion in the turbine. Here it is given as adiabatic efficiency. We used to denote it by the term isentropic efficiency of expansion in the turbine. They are the same. Here the isentropic efficiency of expansion in the turbine is 80%. So what is meant by that? Isentropic efficiency of expansion, or in this case say adiabatic efficiency, it is the ratio of actual work done to the isentropic work done. So the actual expansion process is 4 to 5 dash and isentropic expansion is 4 to 5, the corresponding process. So Cp of the gas multiplied by T4 minus T5 dash is the actual work done, and Cp into T4 minus T5 that is the isentropic work done. Cp will be cancelled, and we know that the isentropic efficiency of expansion in the turbine is given by T4 minus T5 dash and divided by T4 minus T5, which is equal to 0.8, out of which the maximum temperature of the cycle, that is T4, that is given 1000 Kelvin. In this expression for isentropic efficiency of expansion in turbine, here we have three temperatures, T4, T5 and T5 dash, and out of which we know the value of T4, that is the maximum temperature in the cycle, that is given to be 1000 Kelvin. Now if you consider the isentropic expansion, the ideal one, 4 to 5, and you can form a relationship between the temperature ratio and the pressure ratio. The temperature ratio T4 by T5 will be equal to the pressure ratio P4 by P5 raised to gamma minus 1 by gamma, where gamma is the ratio of specific heats, which in this case you can assume gamma for air is 1.4. So T4 by T5 is equal to P4 by P5 raised to gamma minus 1 by gamma. The pressure ratio is readily available. Even otherwise we know the value of P4 and P5 separately. P4 is 5 bar and P5 is 1 bar. So 5 by 1 raised to gamma minus 1 by gamma, 1.4 minus 1 by 1.4. So if you evaluate the right hand side, it is 1.5838. In the left hand side, we have T4 by T5. T4 is 1000 divided by T5. From this you can find out T5. T5 is equal to 1000 divided by 1.5838. So that is 631.39 Kelvin. So we got the temperature at the end of isentropic expansion in the turbine. Now we will proceed and find out the actual temperature of the exhaust gases while coming out of the turbine. At the end of actual expansion, the temperature is T5 dash. See that you can find out from this expression for isentropic efficiency of the turbine. So T4 minus T5 dash divided by T4 minus T5, that is equal to 0.8. So substitute the value of T5 and T4 in this equation 1. Therefore, 1000 minus T5 dash divided by 1000 minus 631.39, and that is equal to 0.80. So if you operate this, you will get the temperature T5 dash. The temperature at the end of actual expansion in the turbine, T5 dash, that is equal to 705.11 Kelvin. That is, this temperature T5 dash is 705.11 Kelvin. Now we will proceed to the regenerator. There one unknown temperature is there, T3. What is the temperature of the air coming out of the regenerator after getting heated by using the waste heat from the exhaust gases? That can be found out by regenerator effectiveness. What is effectiveness of a regenerator? We have explained already. Actual heat transfer by maximum possible heat transfer. So we know this relation already. Effectiveness epsilon is given by T3 minus T2 dash divided by T5 dash minus T2 dash. When Cp from both numerator and denominator are getting cancelled from the expressions representing actual heat transfer in the regenerator divided by maximum possible heat transfer that is ideally possible in regenerator. So the effectiveness epsilon for the regenerator is given by T3 minus T2 dash divided by T5 dash minus T2 dash. Remember, T5 dash is the temperature at the end of expansion, actual expansion in the turbine. T2 dash is the temperature of air coming out of the compressor, and T3 is the temperature of the compressed air after getting heated by the regenerator. Here it is given that the regenerator efficiency is 80%. Usually the term effectiveness is used to represent the efficiency factor for the heat exchanger. So here in fact epsilon, that is representing the efficiency of the regeneration process. So epsilon is equal to 80%. So T3 minus T2 dash divided by T5 dash minus T2 dash, that is equal to 0.8. So T3 minus T2 dash, we know the temperature of compressed air coming out of the compressor is given in the problem 490 Kelvin. So T3 minus 490 divided by 705.11 minus 490, that is equal to 0.8. Now T3 is the only unknown in this. If you operate this fraction and solve for T3, you will get T3 is equal to 662.09 Kelvin. So that is the temperature of the air coming out of the regenerator which is going into the combustion chamber. Now we will be in a position to calculate all the performance parameters like turbine work, compressor work, and the thermal efficiency, net work output, heat supplied, etc. Because we know the temperature at all state points now except the point 6. That is representing the temperature of the exhaust gas when they are driven out of the regenerator. So what is turbine work? The actual turbine expansion is represented by 4 to 5 dash. So specific work done by the turbine or the turbine work per unit mass, Wt is equal to Cp into T4 minus T5 dash. And Cp of air and Cp of gas you can assume to be equal since they are not given. And Cp of air usually we consider as 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin. And gamma for air is 1.4. Turbine work is Cp into T4 minus T5 dash, and Cp is 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin, and T4 is 1000 Kelvin, T5 dash is 705.11. If you substitute, you will get the specific work output from the turbine as 296.3645 kilojoule per kilogram. So what is the net specific work output? W net is W turbine minus W compressor. Turbine work minus compressor work, that is equal to the specific work output from the cycle. Now the compressor work we will evaluate, compressor work per unit mass of air. So W compressor is equal to Cp of air into T2 dash minus T1. And Cp of air is 1.005 into T2 dash is 490 Kelvin minus T1, the ambient temperature 300 Kelvin at the compressor inlet. So if you operate this, you will get the specific work done on the compressor is 190.95 kilojoule per kilogram. Now what is the heat supplied per unit mass? Heat supplied per unit mass in the combustion chamber. The process is represented by 3-4. Therefore, the heat supplied is equal to Cp of gas into T4 minus T3. Here Cp of gas and air are assumed to be the same. So Cp is 1.005 into T4 minus T3. T4 is 1000 Kelvin and T3, the temperature of compressed air coming out of the regenerator is 662.09. So the heat supplied when we use this regenerator is given by 339.5996 kilojoule per kilogram. We have to assess the performance of this gas turbine cycle by considering the regenerator and without considering the regenerator. For that purpose, we will find out the heat supplied without a regenerator, without considering the effect of regeneration in this case. Had there been no regenerator present, then the temperature of air that is entering the combustion chamber would have been T2 dash. So if you avoid the regenerator process in between, this 2 dash to 3 will not be there, and that will form the part of the combustion chamber heat addition. So in the absence of regenerator, the heat supplied will be Cp of gas into T4 minus T2 dash, because heat has to be supplied all the way from 2 dash to 4 in the absence of regenerator. So Cp into T4 minus T2 dash, that is the heat to be supplied per unit mass of gas in the absence of regenerator. That is 1.005 into 1000 minus 490. So 512.55 kilojoule per kilogram. Whereas if you use the regenerator, then the heat supplied is only 339.5996 kilojoule per kilogram. Now we will evaluate the thermal efficiency and all. The net specific work output, we know that it is a difference between the turbine work minus compressor work. See, the specific net work output will remain unaffected if you use regenerator or not. So the net specific work output Wt minus Wc, we have evaluated it already. Specific work done by the turbine, that is 296.3645, and work done on the compressor per unit mass of air is 190.95. So if you subtract, you will get the net specific work output as 105.4145 kilojoule per kilogram. Remember, this net work output will be the same whether we use regenerator or not. So with regenerator, so what is the cycle efficiency, the thermal efficiency of the cycle? W net divided by heat supplied. So that is 105.4145 divided by heat supplied with regenerator is 339.5996. Numerator will remain the same in both cases. So we get the cycle efficiency as 0.3104. If you convert that into percentage by multiplying by 100, you will get 31.04%. What is the thermal efficiency of the cycle without regenerator? So that is the net specific work output divided by the heat supplied in the absence of regenerator in the combustion chamber. So that is 105.4145 divided by the heat supplied in the absence of regenerator, that is represented by Q dash supplied. We calculated it already, 512.55 kilojoule per kilogram. If you divide, you will get 0.2057. And in percentage, it will be 20.57 percentage. See, there is more than 10.5% increase in thermal efficiency when you use a regenerator for the same purpose. With this, it is obvious that the thermal efficiency of the gas turbine cycle can be drastically improved by making use of the regenerator or by utilizing the exhaust gas heat content to heat the compressed air coming out of the compressor before sending to the combustion chamber. By doing that, we will be in a position to reduce the heat supplied and consequently the mass of fuel can be saved. Now I'll give you a numerical problem for you to practice. This is a comprehensive problem from one of the KTU examinations on the topic gas turbine, and it is referring to most of the actual conditions, but this is a cycle in which a heat exchanger is used. Therefore, this is also a regenerative type of gas turbine cycle. Please make an attempt to solve this problem and communicate in case of any difficulty. Here in this problem, you can note that the calorific value of the fuel is given. So the heat supplied in the combustion chamber you can evaluate, and Cp value and gamma value, the ratio of specific heat Cp by Cv for air and gas, both are different in this case because Cp is given to be 1.005 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin and gamma is equal to 1.4 during compression. The working substance which undergoes compression is air. Cp of air and gamma for air is this value, and Cp of gas and gamma for the gas after combustion, that is Cp of gas mixture and gamma for the gas mixture of the gases, hot gases evolved out of combustion, and that is 1.147 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin, and the corresponding gamma value for the gas is 1.33. When you evaluate the rate of heat supplied in the combustion chamber and during the turbine expansion, the work done per second, then you have to make use of these Cp values, Cp for the gas. Before I wind up this session, let me remind you the condition for minimum compressor work in the case of two-stage compression with perfect intercooling in between, and one more case. In fact, this we have discussed during the numerical problem covered in session 4. We know that for minimum compressor work in two-stage compression with perfect intercooling, the same pressure ratio should be maintained between the two stages of compression. We have discussed this case of two-stage compression with intercooling during our previous session, lecture number 4. Here the first stage compression 1 to 2 dash and 2 dash to 3 is the intercooling process, and 3 to 4 dash is the actual compression in the second stage. And the pressure ratio in the first stage is P2 by P1. In fact, P2 is same as P2 dash, which is equal to P3. So P2 by P1 or P3 by P1, that is the first stage pressure ratio. And the second stage pressure ratio is P4 by P3, that is same as P4 dash by P3. So you can say P2 by P1, if it is equal to P4 by P3, in fact P2 is equal to P3, if these two pressure ratios are the same, if the stage pressure ratios are same, then that is in fact the vital condition for minimum compressor work in two-stage compression with perfect intercooling. Also, we discussed previously that the temperature at the beginning of first stage compression, that is T1, will be equal to the temperature of the air after the perfect intercooling. So after perfect intercooling, then T3 will be equal to T1. And P2 here is equal to P3. See, we are familiar with this one already. And we extend this one for the condition for maximum turbine work in the case of two-stage expansion with reheating in between. By utilizing the similar procedure, we can find out the condition for maximum turbine work with a reheating in between. Remember, in the case of compressors, our effort is to minimize the work done, and in the case of turbines, our effort is to maximize the work done. So what is the condition for maximum turbine work? A cycle like this we have considered already. The first stage high pressure turbine expansion is 3-4 isentropically, and in the actual case 3-4-. And second stage low pressure turbine expansion, in the actual case 5-6-, and ideally it is 5-6. And if you consider the reheating in between 4-5, that is the reheating that takes place in the reheater. After the high pressure turbine expansion, the exhaust gas is sent to the reheater where its temperature is raised to T5, and thereafter it is sent to the low pressure turbine for the second stage expansion. That process is 5-6-. Here we have three pressure levels. See the low pressure level representing P1, which is equal to P6, which is equal to P6-. Intermediate pressure stage P5, that is equal to P4-, which is equal to P4. And the high pressure stage P2, which is equal to P2-, and that is equal to P3. The pressure ratio in the high pressure expansion stage, that is P3 by P4. And the second stage expansion in the low pressure turbine, that is P5 by P6. Remember, P4 is equal to P4- is equal to P5. So first stage ratio P3 by P4, second stage ratio P5 by P6, and if they are equal, then that is the necessary condition for maximum turbine work. In other words, the turbine work would be maximum if the same pressure ratio is maintained between the two turbine stages. That is P3 by P4 is equal to P5 by P6. Remember, P4 is equal to P5. In the case of most effective reheating in between the two turbine stages, the temperature T3, that is the peak temperature, will be equal to T5. That means after reheating, the temperature is brought back to the highest temperature in the cycle. T3 is equal to T5. With this, I wind up today's session. Have a happy learning experience. Thank you so much.